friends, and welcome to the Cinemondo podcast with Kathy and Burk, talking about movies and trailers, movie promotion, and movies that we're really excited about. I love it when I get excited about a movie that's coming up. That it
Yeah.
seems like going through COVID and all that, where we had to live without that feeling for so long, and
Yeah.
now there's these bigger sort of those kind of, I mean, I hate to say it, but the blockbusters that we all love, and the big directors that we all love coming out with their
Yep.
movies, and that's always such a thrill, and we got
Well,
one
also,
coming.
this one.
Yeah.
This one especially because it was one of my favorite movies of the year when it came
Yeah.
out, and it ends so abruptly.
I know.
You were just like, so this one I really wanted to see because I feel like it was definitely half a movie. It needed another version. So I'm very excited. And what are we
is
talking
half a
about?
book. Yeah. I mean, it was the part of it. It was the I mean, the book is really big, fat science fiction book.
We're talking about Dune, by the way.
We're talking about Dune, by the way. Yeah. In case you didn't know. In case you didn't read the thumbnail before you clicked
Well,
on
they
this
might
video.
be reading them, one of our play all playlists.
Oh,
so that
that's true.
You
Yeah.
never know.
Okay, we're talking about Dune, y'all.
Dune 2, that just about to come out. Same
Dune
directors,
2.
same actors, same everything. So if
Same
it's as good
Dune,
as the
yeah.
first one, I mean, the first one blew me away. Like I was
Yeah.
just thought it was so gorgeous and smart, and like it just had a non-commercial feel, even though it's a big commercial movie.
Yeah.
And it wasn't made for kids. It was definitely like the adult, themed. I just
Right.
thought it was great.
Yeah, and it to me, it really captured the feel of the book. I love that first book. I've read it several times in my life, and every time I read it, it's one of those things. I know I've said this before about things like this, but it's one of those book, movie, albums, one of those pieces of creative art that I always go back to. There's albums that you go and you listen to them over and over, of course. There's movies I watch over and over. I read this book over and over because one of the reasons is because when I was younger, I read it and it was really cool because of certain things in it. Then when I got a little older, I read it with a completely different brain this time.
Oh, interesting.
I got something completely different out of this book. And then I read it fairly recently, like maybe a year or two ago, as a full grown adult, like a fully, like really well grown adult. And if you've lived a life and you read this book, you're like, wow, there's even deeper heaviness in here going on.
Yes.
And there's such great stuff in this book about history, philosophy, the way you compare it to the way the world is now. I missed all that when I was younger. I was reading about the battles and the weird,
crazy ants, monsters, and the worms, and the fantasy aspect of it.
Yeah, and you're the characters too, but you weren't really relating them to reality the way you read it now, and you realize, okay, the spice is oil, the fights that are going on are very similar to what we have going on in our world and all that. But the idea, and when I read it when I was younger, it was like, oh, Paul Atreides is the savior, he's the prophecy. But then you read it again and you read into the, you pay more attention as an adult and you realize, wow, he's kind of a fake prophet. He's a prophet that was manipulated and fabricated by the Bene Gesserit over thousands of years, where they would come in, they'd swoop in. They have these long plans, these long cons they're running. They'll go into a new society and plant these seeds of faith and like these religious seeds. Yeah. And then they go and then they wait a few thousand years and then they come back and see what their seeds of faith have produced, this religion and this idea about a prophet and all this. And then they provide the prophet,
Oh, look, here he is, you guys. A white man. What do you know?
But yeah. But the thing is, it's like in this case, of course, there really is a Kwisatz Haderach, the whole thing. And well, there's more to it than that. I'm kind of simplifying, but should we watch the trailer?
Let's take a look because I haven't seen it yet. I've been saving it just for this. So I'm very excited to see it.
I have to confess I saw it already, but
I'll
watch it again.
Watch it again.
Pretty cool.
Can't wait.
Ready?
Yep.
And
This world is beyond cruelty. You've been fighting the Harkonnens for decades. My family's been fighting them for centuries. They were massacred alongside my father.
Your father didn't believe in revenge. We believe in Fremen.
Let me fight beside you.
Reload!
He said
I
that.
got that. Thanks.
I won't be fighting for him. I'm fighting for my people.
You young pup.
You believe in Paul.
That are science.
The prophet. Why is that a bad thing? Use it. Because all my visions lead to horror.
Because you lose control.
Because I gain it. Johnny, do you believe in me?
Paul Atreides is still alive.
Deal with this prophet. Show me who you are. Your father was a weak man.
Look who's back from the dead.
I will do what must be done.
We gave them something to hope for.
That's not hope!
I will love you as long as I breathe.
This prophecy is how they enslave us!
It's not a prophecy. It's a story.
I don't care what you believe. I believe. I am Paul Atreides, Duke of Arrakis. Under the blue
He who can destroy a thing has the real control of it.
Damn, that gave me chills. Oh my god, it's so passionate. I love it.
I know. That's
Oh my
what
god. Whew.
that we watched it a couple of times. My wife and I both were saying the same thing. We're like, Mute is
Wow,
like,
so
it gave me goosebumps.
It did. I mean, I'm
It
totally
looks pretty intense,
It looks really
and it looks
intense.
like the book has been brought to life. There's so much in there. There's things that it looks like they brought from later books in, and if I'm remembering correctly, when he sees his old friend who has died and he is brought back to life. I remember in the book there was a race of humans who had perfected this ability to bring dead people back to life, and they called them Golas. And when you brought one of them back to life, it had some of it was sort of like a Pet Cemetery version of a resurrected person. You get the person, you get your person back, but they're not right,
You
and
get
that
the
was one of the
shell
cool
of the person, but I mean, death would change
and
you.
some of the memories and things like that. But it's a different in the book. I think they had like metal eyes. I think that was one of the descriptions, was their eyes were you couldn't tell where they were looking. They were like, they looked blind, but they weren't. But he he comes back from the dead, but I don't know, maybe I think he's just seeing his friend on the battlefield here.
That could
Maybe
be.
I'm giving some spoiler away for the third film.
Oh, you said friend though. You didn't say who. You didn't say
Yeah,
what.
I'm trying not to be too.
A friend.
Yeah,
We don't want to,
somebody.
even though the books are old and if you haven't read them, but I haven't read
Yeah.
them in a long time. I don't remember the finer details. I remember the broad strokes, and all I remember
Yeah.
now is Christopher Walken. That's all I really care. That's all I really care about. He's the coolest. Just you see him, and it's instantly great.
Yeah. That, your father was a weak man. Who can deliver that line like Christopher Walken? That's a
And he does it in, like, a very underplayed way, where
yeah.
you could see, like, an actor wanting to go, "Your father was a weak man," like, kind of
Yeah.
angry and performative, but he doesn't have to do it because it's all in here,
Yeah.
just got
Like if
that
they cast me for it,
world weary.
I would have been like, your father was a weak man, Paul. Was that good?
That was
Okay,
really good.
let's take two. Your father was a weak man.
Very good. Everyone rate these performances. Which one did you like better?
How about your father was a weak man?
That was a little more Walken-ish.
Maybe.
Also, one thing
Your
I like
father
about these
was a weak man.
your father, weak ass. I probably sounded very shrill and like I was someone scolding their kid or something. Your father.
Your father was a weak man.
So there's a few things here. First, we have this incredible A-list cast like Josh Brolin, Christopher
Yeah.
Walken again, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, like that's, and of course Timothée Chalamet, who just blows me away. No matter what he's in,
Yeah. He's really
he
good.
brings something. Whatever he's
Yeah.
in, he brings something special. And I like
He's
when
got it. He's got whatever
you think
it
he
is.
would be kind of bratty, good-looking Hollywood kid. He's got the cheekbones. He just seems like he'd
Right.
be that guy, but no, he brings it. He goes deep, and he's always different. Like he's got this huge range. He's not relying on the pretty boy thing, and I love that.
Right.
Like it's just not. And he looks perfect for this because he looks like this entitled little prince.
Yeah.
But he's starting to come to terms with the fact that not only is the weight he's bearing, but the lie that it was sort of based on, and he's kind of trying to do right by joining the indigenous people.
Yeah, it's a lot of depth in there and a lot of stuff, as they say, to unpack
A lot of stuff.
when you look at this story. It's not just a story on the surface. Some people, I think, and some versions of this story kind of bypass a lot of those deeper ideas. One of the things about the book that books are able to do that movies sometimes can't do is that they can provide all this backstory. You can have a whole chapter that goes into like the origins of this ancient order and what they've done over the last 1,000 years, told by the author of the book. Basically, you're reading a chapter saying, in the 3rd century, but blah blah blah, this happened, and it's like, if you can't really do that in a movie unless you have a narration, which is always weird. Or unless you have one of those horrible scenes where there's a character who tells people in the movie things that they would likely already know.
Yeah, because they have to explain to us, and so then they have to make this kind of obvious. Well, but I really like Denis Villeneuve. I think he's like, to me, kind of up there like Chris Nolan, like just a super intellectual filmmaker. Makes these really complex stories with heavy duty sci-fi that actually feels like it's real. And even though this is an old story, it feels like he's bringing something modern and complex to it, and gorgeous lighting. My God, I mean, I'm just looking at this cinematography, just top notch. And so tech credits are incredible. Effects look seamless. They don't look overdone. It doesn't look super CGI. It looks natural. And I love the palette is very like sepia tone. The whole thing there's no color in this movie. Like it's like just this dust, except blue eyes. That blue eye thing pops. The only cool color in this whole thing are these blue eyes, which I also love that little, trick to show that. So
And
good.
one thing, the design of, you were talking about the special effects and we should also say that the cinematographer is Grieg Fraser. But the special effects, one of the things about special effects is that you see so many special effects. We are overwhelmed and inundated with special effects. We've seen everything at this point. Basically, we've seen all kinds of monsters and spaceships and stuff. But what it boils down to, I think, when you want to do something innovative and you want to sort of surprise people or put people in a place they've never been before, which I think should be the goal in science fiction. I don't want to go back to that same Star Wars universe again. It's like everybody tries to do Star Wars again and again, and the spaceships all look like Star Wars spaceships. This is a new look, and when you saw the first Dune, some of their spaceships had a completely different vibe to them than I've seen. And he did that in Arrival too, when he had the spaceships in that were like these big stone oval shapes that it looked like they were made out of some kind of, metal or something. I don't know what. I mean, that's the cool thing. I don't know what they were made of, and I don't know how they flew, and it was cool.
Yeah,
it was alien technology. And in this one, you see these advanced shapes, these things that you don't know what it is. Like there's one giant ship that looks like it's firing a bunch of beams, and you're like, I don't understand that, but it's awesome, Yeah. And I love it when special effects go places that I've never seen before and show me things that I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, exactly. And this cast has a lot of people I didn't even notice, even though now that I think about it, we have Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, which I'm glad they're giving her a ton more to do. It's about time.
Yeah.
She looks I love her, super strong.
Yeah.
Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Austin Butler. I forgot he was in this. I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh, huge.
Yeah.
Dave Bautista, very obviously he was in it. Christopher Walken, as we talked about. Stellan Skarsgård, who was so great in the first one. Oh my God, he was so creepy. And then Javier Bardem, Tim Blake Nelson, who we've seen in a bunch of stuff that's been great. We saw him in the Western, the indie Western. Now I can't remember the name of it.
Yes,
Billy the Kid.
Old
Henry. Then he was also in the Cabinet of Curiosities. He's in one of the first episodes. So he's also an incredible actor, and tons of other people.
And we just saw him in Poker Face as well.
That's right. He's in Poker Face. That's right.
Yeah.
So great actors and some more indie actors, but I love that they're getting into this big movie because they'll bring lots and lots of characters. So looks incredible. Let us know what you think. I know we've covered a lot of Dune stuff, but we are so excited about Dune.
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to go on and on about Dune. Sorry. When it comes out, we're going to watch it and we're going to talk about it. And if there's another trailer, we're going to cover that. Sorry.
That's right.
But if you like this podcast, you probably like it too. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have the poster. We covered it last time. We're bringing in Zendaya with Timothée Chalamet. They did a teaser with just him, and now they're doing just with him with her. So they're equal likeness. They're definitely going to be the main leads. So I like that they're bringing her to the forefront. She's a really cool character. So now we're going to see the two factions combined because it's basically Romeo and Juliet. That story never gets old,
I know, and just as tragic. Yeah.
Yes, very. All right. Let us know what you think. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. We love to hear it. We're looking at the comments. We love talking to you guys. So let us know.
Tell us if you've read the book Dune and if you like the movie. Also tell us, I mean, everybody, it's really popular and sort of, I guess at this point trendy to sort of trash David Lynch's version of it. But it's still fun for me to watch. I think that's a fun movie, but I love that movie, but for me, it's not Dune. It's a David Lynch.
It's a different thing.
When you balance between Dune and a David Lynch movie, it's way more of a David Lynch movie than a Dune movie.
That's true.
So, but therefore, very fun to watch. And do you agree? Do you think I'm nuts? Also, there was the Sci-Fi Network version of it that people don't tend to talk about very much, but I didn't hate it, but I felt like it was limited by its budget and its scope. It was kind of a smaller type of thing.
I feel like this has completely obliterated everything that came before because this is the way you make an adaptation of a great novel. You just just bring every A-list bit of talent you can.
Oh, that was Denis Villeneuve. Yeah, he says I got the part. Actually, he's
okay. You saw your audition.
They're gonna reshoot the Christopher Walken stuff. He's out, and he's gonna reshoot it with me.
Well, it's about damn time.
I think
we should replay the trailer and cut you in.
All right, I can improvise. Your dad was weak.
Directors love it when you improvise. I've heard that.
Yeah, they want you to. Yeah,
they want you to just do whatever you want. All right, you guys.
Daddy was really weak.
All right. Okay. Oh, please, you guys don't encourage.
That's the last one.
Last one. Your daddy. Bye.
Bye.